Just had a conversation with a good friend, Gary Sarner, and we were talking about website design. And I said, hey, I don't think your copy really explains who you are and your expertise because he is the guy when it comes to radio. And I said, you know what? You need to talk to Dmitry. You need to go to Influx. You need to talk to them because of your copywriting and showcasing that expression through words, through
Yes.
visuals. Can you explain what a full expression means to you and how you help people get there?
Yes. I'll first go back a little bit more in my story. So I came here to the United States as when I was 7, single mom. We immigrated over, and so I didn't speak the language at all. And so I was bullied a lot and couldn't really express myself, and couldn't really influence the world around me. And so I really got to master and learn the English language, and I got to find that that was touching my deepest core wound. Is I got to express myself and influence the world with words. And I actually started rapping when I was 13, 14, 15 years old. And so when I started, way fast forward, when I started Influx, it was the combination of influence and expression. Based on my belief, your greatest influence comes through your fullest expression. When it comes to the question you asked, by the way, I love Gary. We just had a conversation last week, and I'm excited to do some work for him to bring more of his essence to the table. Guys, he's so interesting. Like, not only so brilliant in what he does, but also, wears these unique, colorful shirts and goes to conferences and is so memorable because he expresses himself as he is. And so for many of us, even though we have a unique expression as who we are as people, when it comes to the business world, sometimes we put on this professional suit to appear a certain way to fit in. And so I go back as a kid. At first, I wanted to fit in, and then discovered that what I really want is to stand out and to be seen. And I think most human beings, most of us, and especially entrepreneurs and lawyer entrepreneurs, they really want to be seen. They do what they do because they want to be seen. They want to win. They want to be the best at what they do. And that doesn't take fitting in, it takes standing out. And so each of us has this unique expression within us. And I've gotten to cultivate the gift, and our team's gotten to cultivate the gift of intimately getting to know someone through their story, through their unique values, through their purpose, which sometimes they have clearly defined, sometimes they don't, and then get to infuse that into their marketing. And of course, that's combined with the influence side of deeply understanding their audience, the direct marketing principles that speak to their audience. But I think this is especially relevant. Of course, it's relevant for influencers and marketers, but it's especially relevant for lawyers. You think about personal injury law. When we first went into the industry, we asked the question, we're like, well, what makes you different? Like, what makes any of them different? Because technically, on the surface, and to most of the consumers, they're doing the same thing, right? They're helping you. You've been in a personal injury, and they are here to take on your case, to stand for you. And Gary and I were talking about this, that most personal injury lawyers also will say the same thing. What makes you different? We win more and we care more. Okay, well that's one thing, and so does the guy down the street. Even if you think they don't, and they'll still say the same thing. So then, what really makes you and your firm different? And we found that in personal injury, it's a combination of things. It's philosophy, it's personality. Most of the time, it's culture. Like every firm, we've worked with a number of the top 8-figure firms, and so many of them have, even though on the surface it's a very similar message, there's actually something so unique about who they are and what they do that attracts a different type of client. And it usually has to do with their culture, their values, how they run their team. We take Shannara as one example. So we got to write the headline for them of "We go to war for your family." So we go to, and they're warriors. Like they were the first major personal brand firm we built, and we went into their office and we're like, wow, these guys are warriors. They have all these thoroughbred attorneys, and they care so deeply. And we win more and care more for them as expressed through "We go to war for your family." To big insurance companies, you're just a claim number. To most attorneys, you're just a settlement number. To us, you're the reason we never stop fighting. And we kind of contrast that to a mutual client of ours, Hey Law, Alreen. The headline we got to write for her was, "When you stand up for yourself, we stand with you." And for her, it's a lot more standing up against corporate bullies, employment law, sexual harassment, and it's standing up for the little guy or the woman that's been harassed in some way, and they're standing up against the big corporate bully. And rather than just, hey, we're gonna take you and protect you, it's also empower you, and we're gonna when you stand up for yourself, we stand with you. And you kind of see the contrast of those. Technically, they could each almost be saying the same thing, but they're saying radically different things based on Alreen's is a culture of love, Shannara's is a culture of war, but a war in a way that's war for love, war for care, winning for the right reasons. And there's been such a wide range of clients that we've worked with that even though, again, on the surface, before we worked with them, their websites were almost saying the same thing, we got to say what they're truly here to do and why they do it in a way that becomes this unforgettable marketing headline.
Yeah, in a way, it's very introspective. It allows you to uncover who you are at a deeper level and then use those words to craft the perfect message. And I would say that is the differentiator. If you just have the generic content, then you're just like everyone else, right? Injured, car accident, question mark. But
Right.
when you get to the core of it, of who you are and your story and your background and why you do things the way that you do it, it really makes it unique. One of the things that, and it's right behind your shoulder here, is you have some unique guiding principles or core values at your agency, and a few of them, even the wording of these are very intriguing. So you have forward flow and upward spiral. How do these principles show up in your day-to-day?
Love this question because, again, it goes back to culture and values. So this is how we show up as an agency, and it actually makes an acronym of Influence. And one thing is I'm a spoken word artist. Spoken word name is Forward, Forword, moving the world forward with words. And so that's shown up in copywriting, and mostly I love forming acronyms. I love alliterating things because it makes things more memorable. And so a lot of companies have core values. For us, we've been so adamant about whether it's the clients work with or for ourselves, having those core values be memorable so that the team in the marketplace really not only gets it, but can remember it. And so for ours, first one, innovate, imagine, inspire. Really all about, and I love the Einstein quote of logic takes you from A to B, imagination takes you anywhere, or the Steve Jobs quote, one of my biggest heroes, that innovation, let me actually read it. Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. And so we really believe in leading the way with creativity, imagining a better future, and then inspiring our team and our clients to create that. Naked truth, really just radical transparency, authenticity, whether it's through the relationship with the numbers, ourselves, and others. And also Dalai Lama quote there, let me also read it. In our struggle for freedom, truth is the only weapon we possess. Forward flow, Lao Tzu quote, for those who flow as life flows, know they need no other force. So the forward flow is all about, especially as a creative agency, there's so many different things we do. It's always about moving things forward. So it's never getting stuck, never thinking, hey, because we don't have the copy for this, we can't start this, or because we don't have the design here, we can't start this. It's always coaching and working with our team on how do we move forward the next step, even if there seems to be a roadblock. So like being like a river that flows through around all obstacles and doing that in business.
That's a great one for it's kind of got that built-in Scrum, right? With the bottlenecks, it's like
right.
Pushing past to continue. Jumping over to personal brand. I mean, you really excel, and Influx really excels at creating this authentic personal brand. I want to flip it on the other side. Where are so many personal brands missing the mark? Where do you see the biggest issues with those trying to highlight their personal brand?
Yes, love this question. So the first thing that probably comes to mind, and I think it's the reason when people build a personal brand for the wrong reasons, and I think oftentimes it's also the reason people don't build a personal brand, and depending on their value systems, it's really, when it's about ego, from the perspective of thinking a personal brand is about me. And even though, of course, it's a personal brand, it's usually yourname.com. For an attorney, it's very oftentimes their face and name on the billboard. Even though oftentimes they don't have separate personal brands, their personal brands are infused into They're companies. They're named after them. When they make it about themselves, and the personal brand becomes, look how great I am, right? Even though it can build a lot of credibility, it usually doesn't build as much connection and relatability. And so a personal brand, there's this really great book, Story Brand, that really by Donald Miller, that really speaks to, you are not the hero of the marketing story. And so when it's a personal brand, when you try to be the hero, that actually oftentimes leaves your client to be like, hey, cool story, bro, but I'm the hero of my story, even if they don't consciously think it. And so rather than that, if you're, so that's probably the biggest mistake people make for when they do it. And also oftentimes why people don't do it. Oh, I don't want to build a personal brand that's so egotistical. But really, your personal brand is, you're the guide. You're the guide to the hero of somebody else's story. So if you think of Star Wars, your client, the person you want to help, is Luke Skywalker, you're Yoda, right? If you think of the Matrix, your client is Neo, you're Morpheus. And so you're the hero, or they're the hero, you're the guide. But as Morpheus and as Yoda, right? Because that hero could choose so many different mentors, and chances are they wouldn't make their journey if they don't choose the right mentor. So it's so important to build your personal brand as authentically you, while you communicate in a way that's, here's how I can help you get to where you're meant to go.
That's fantastic, and I love the Star Wars analogies and references there. Being a big Star Wars fan myself, so I appreciate that. So the basics too, and I'm just kind of paraphrasing what you said. Like, I mean, first of all, I think most of the time you need the business website and you need the personal brand, and you market those different. You're speaking to different audiences typically, and so that's a couple things. And in those blended approach, I think sometimes it's very hard to stand out and speak to it's hard to, because you have different audiences,
Right.
typically of who you're trying to market to. So when you're trying to amplify your authority, how does being the guide, being the mentor, how do you demonstrate authority to those potential prospects?
Yes. So great question. I'll first share one thing that comes to mind with the personal brand versus company brand is, as people love to do business with people. So even if you're primarily building a company brand, featuring your personal brand and your team's personal brands, featuring the personality of the business or your own within your website and within your brand is so important. And then oftentimes it's, like what we did for you and with you, it's rankings.io is the company brand, and there's your personal brand. And I love that yours is a classic example of this, where the headline is, don't represent yourself in the court of Google. Let me help your firm rank number one. And so that in itself already speaks to, okay, here's how you're the guide. You are sharing your credibility and authority by speaking to what's important to them, what's in it for them. But while doing so in a way that, hey, this is what I'm here to do. Let me help you with this, but don't do this yourself. And so that kind of speaks to the direct value. And then all the authority pieces, it's really bringing in whatever your credibility is on, whether it's on track record. I love to say it's like, what's your authentic authority? So you don't need to go buy followers or buy media placements to have authentic authority. What you need is, here's who I've helped, right? And actually sharing those stories. And for us, it's oftentimes just, we list the client list, and that creates a lot of authentic authority. People look at our work, and that creates the authentic authority, right? For you guys as well, hey, we've hit Inc. 5000 5 consecutive years. And just doing that means it's not about the bragging of, hey, we've hit Inc. 5000. It's about, we've served so many people that we've continued growing, and we've continued reaching more and more people. So it's testimonials, it's those credibility markers, it's getting yourself featured in, whether it's featured in media, getting on other people's podcasts, doing like what you've done, which is starting your own podcast and doing a lot of content, where it's content marketing, but it's really more than that, because it's adding values, contributing values to the people that you're looking to serve. And what better way to show that you can help somebody than actually helping them and doing so for free in a way that's, wow, if their free stuff is so good, wonder what is available if I pay for it. And for personal injury attorneys, right, people don't directly pay for it in the first place. They're picking someone based on who's going to be the best person to help me through this really difficult chapter in my life. And oftentimes, the more value you put out there, way before that person actually needs you, the more they'll think of you as they've already helped me understand some things about this. They're top of mind for me, or they're top of mind for somebody that referred me. And so therefore, I'm going to go with them.